my name's Maliha and I got 10 grade 9s at GCSEs, which I probably wouldn't have got if it wasn't for the flashcard method that I'm going to show you today. So this video is split into two parts, the digital flashcard method and the paper flashcard method, because obviously I know that there are people who prefer to do paper even though I prefer to do digital. So I'll show you a good method for both. For the digital, the one that I use, and for the paper, a very similar method that you can implement without having to use the electronic version. So first of all, let's go into digital, which is what I prefer personally. I do understand why some people prefer paper because they say that they prefer to be able to write it out because they're able to remember it better. But for me personally, I just prefer digital because you don't have to go out and buy the actual paper flashcards, so it's saving you money and it's all in one place and it's easily accessible anywhere. But yeah, to each their own. For digital, the app that I used to make my digital flashcards is called Study Smarter. So I'm just gonna get that up now. Give me 1 second. Okay, so here we are on the home screen. So once you've created an account for yourself, you're going to go on library and you're going to click create study set. So this will enable you to create the flashcards for yourself. So here's a list of subjects that you can choose from. Just for example's sake, I'm going to choose biology for this example study set. Obviously, if you want this method to work for you, you'd be making study sets and flashcards for each of your subjects, but for this one I'm just going to choose biology as an example. So off the top of my head, I can remember homeostasis and response as one of the topics from homeostasis and response as one of the topics from GCSE biology. So I'm just going to create a study set there, and then we're going to add material. So within each subject you would have different study sets for each topic, and if you're not sure which topics are within your your curriculum and your subject, then you can ask your teacher, you can look in your textbook specific to your course, or you can go online and you can search up the subject and your exam board, and there should come up a specification, and the specification should have all of the topics listed out for you. It's very important that you know which topics are in your subject so that you're able to go through them systematically and see which ones need more work, and also so you can make specific revision resources for each topic. So here we are on the flashcard creating page. So here you have your question and your answer to make the flashcard, and you also have this thing called a tag. So if you click on tag, you can literally add an extra subtopic. For example, in the homeostasis and response chapter, there may be a specific part about the kidney or a specific part about the nervous system, so you can just add that there. So I'm just going to click nervous system there, and now you have a tag. So then when you go back to your revision and you revise your topic specifically, then you can choose which tags you want to revise in particular, and then it'll just tailor down the revision. It'll filter it all out for you so that you can revise only the topics that you think you need to work on. So for the nervous system question and answer, I'm just going to make any random flashcard. It's better to keep your flashcards nice and concise so that they're not too overwhelming when it comes to revising them. For example, you might want to do a key term what is the central nervous system? And then you can have an answer the brain and the spinal cord. So you see what I mean? Nice and simple, right? Okay, so that's one flashcard done. I'm just going to go into my textbook, and I apologise, this is actually an A-level textbook because I threw away all of my GCSE stuff. So just for demonstration's sake, I'm going to show you how I would make a flashcard from the textbook, because when you're making your flashcards, you'd want to make them from a larger comprehensive revision resource. So it would be a textbook, or if you don't have access to a textbook, then you can maybe use online revision resources such as BBC Bite Size, which is really good, or you can use YouTube videos such as Free Science Lessons or Cognito. So here we have a page about the kidneys. So there are two kinds of flashcards you may have to make based on this textbook page. So if you see this little snippet here where it says key term, that's a nice easy one. You'd be able to just make a question and answer easily just by copying that out, because all you can see, it has a term which is metabolic water, and then it has the explanation for what metabolic water actually is. So for that, my question would be, What is metabolic water? And then the answer would just be that part in the key term there, which is water produced from the oxidation of food reserves. Okay, that's one flashcard done. But if it is quite a lengthy paragraph, such as this thing here, you see the paragraph where it says behaviour and it's next to that picture of the otter. Is that an otter? The rock hyrax, not the otter. If you see that there, that's quite a big paragraph. And if you're someone like me who struggles with condensing your flashcards and making comprehensive flashcards because you tend to waffle a bit, then what you can do is basically Study Smarter has this tool where you can create a flashcard from AI. So if you click over here on generate with AI and then you click text, and then basically this whole paragraph here about behaviour, you just write that out into the box and it makes the flashcards for you. It condenses the information for you. If you want another way of like condensing your information, if you have a textbook that tends to give a lot of unnecessary information, and what you can do is you can look for resources that condense it down for you. So that would be things like knowledge organisers, like my school did knowledge organisers, where the teachers got all the information relevant to the topic and they put them into a sheet, like a fact sheet of everything they thought you need to know. If your school doesn't do that, maybe you can ask your teachers if they would be willing to do that for you. If your teachers are not willing to do that, then maybe what you can do is you can look through the PowerPoints. Usually, like if your teacher uses a PowerPoint in lesson, then they would upload it onto your Google Classroom so that you can look at it through in your free time. If your teacher doesn't do that, then again just ask them, would you please be able to upload the lesson PowerPoints onto our Google Classroom so that we can have a look. Worst case scenario, your school doesn't have a Google Classroom up and running, so instead maybe you can ask your teacher to email you the PowerPoint so that you can go through it, because your teacher obviously would condense information down for you into a PowerPoint form instead of like this waffly textbook, and you can make your flashcards from there because it shows you all the important information and not a bunch of waffle. Worst case scenario, like worst case scenario, your teacher doesn't even use PowerPoints. In that case, you can go online and find a detailed spec, and the detailed spec, if you search up your course and your exam board, it should have all of the key information based on each topic, which you can use to make your flashcards. Okay, so now I'm going to demonstrate to you what happens once you've made the flashcards. So here we have 2 flashcards, which obviously isn't a lot. You would be making more than this ideally. Like if I showed you some of the stuff that I made for A level, like in my alkenes one, I've made around 60. And you can also add like, you can also add like, why is it not expanding? Okay, you can also add these pictures and stuff and diagrams and drawings to supplement your learning and make it even more immersive. So I have all these flashcards here, so that's ideally how much you would be making. But obviously, for example's sake, we've got our own study set here. So once you've made these 2 flashcards, what you will need to do in order to start the schedule of spaced repetition is to learn them. So you'd click start learning, and then what is the central nervous system, the brain and spinal cord, and then as you can see here, you have these buttons at the bottom. So the brain and the spinal cord, okay, I think I'm fairly confident on that because I got that just now, so I'm going to click on perfect, and that flashcard is going to come up in 3 days time. What is metabolic water? I'm not too sure, so I'm just going to see the answer. Water produced from the oxidation of food reserves. Okay, I wasn't too confident on that flashcard, so I'm going to click bad, and now it's going to come up again. Obviously if you had more flashcards, then it would come up in 4 flashcards time. Because I only have 2, it came up straight away. So it's the oxidation of food reserves. So then now I click perfect. Now that's all done. And then what happens is, once you have learnt the flashcards, it's going to put it onto your schedule of spaced repetition. So now that those flashcards have been learned, both of those flashcards are going to come up in 3 days because I clicked perfect for both of them. So what happens here is, when you end up making loads of these study sets for all of your subjects and you learn all the flashcards in them, they're going to come up in your schedule here, your to-do list for every day. So obviously I have like a terrifying amount. This is because I've not been doing my flashcards because I finished my A-levels, so they've built up day by day. That's why there's so many. You won't have this many, don't worry. You won't be having this many in your to-do list. But normally it'd be like 2 flashcards from this, 2 flashcards from that, and it'd take about 20 minutes every day to finish. But the great thing about this spaced repetition algorithm is that it paces out your flashcards, so you don't have to do them in bulk every single day. Whichever ones that you think you struggle with, that's the one. When you click bad on the, you know, the learning thing, for example, I'll show you. It's telling me to revise 8 flashcards in alkenes. What is the inductive effect? Okay, I don't know, so I'm going to click bad. PVC uses, window panes, I think was one of them. Window frames and water pipes. Okay, that was okay, so that's going to come up in 414 days. Markovnikov's rule, I'm confident on that, so that's going to come up in 308 days because I clicked good. Do you see what I mean? Depending on how well you know the flashcards, that's how much time it's going to come to you afterwards. And when you do it like that, it's going to pace the flashcards out for you, and it's going to automatically divide the topics up into stuff that you know well and stuff that you don't know well. And then through that, you're slowly able to get each flashcard and each bit of information into your long term and keep it there, because through the schedule of reinforcement, it brings up the flashcards depending on, like, you know, according to the algorithm, whether you've forgotten it or not. So that's how it would work digitally. If you are not a digital kind of person, and you're sitting there thinking, oh, I really want to be able to do like a spaced repetition algorithm because it seems like a really good way to, you know, get the information into my head bit by bit and keep everything in my long term, don't worry, because I still have a method that you can use that mimics a spaced repetition algorithm, but with paper instead of digital. And this is not actually my technique. Credit goes to another YouTuber called Henry Brand. I came across this on one of his videos, and I thought it was a really, really clever way to mimic that spaced repetition method and get it all into your head in a similar way. So basically how his method worked was he got 3 containers and he put his flashcards into separate containers. So he'd have his daily flashcards, weekly and monthly. So the daily flashcards is like the new flashcards that he's made, or the flashcards that he believes would require immediate attention. He goes through these every single day, and then if he knows them well, then that's good. It will then move on to the weekly pile. If he doesn't know it so well, then it stays in daily. Then once a week, like on a specific day during the week, he will go through his weekly flashcards. If he knows the flashcard well and he's happy with it, then that's great. That flashcard will then move to monthly. If he's like okay with it and he's like, yeah, it's fine, then it goes to then it stays in weekly. But if he really struggled with it and he's like, oh, okay, I'm not really sure I know that flashcard so well, then that flashcard would then move to back to daily. And then, as you can guess, once a month, on a specific day of the month, you would go through the monthly flashcards. And if you know the flashcard well, then that's great, it stays in monthly. And if you actually like genuinely struggle with it, then it skips weekly and it goes all the way back to daily. So that way you're able to get each of the information into your long term, and you're prioritizing the information you don't know as well, because that would be revised every single day. Whereas the information you know quite a bit, then it will stay in monthly, so you're still revising it, but it's not like, you know, you're revising it all the time, which is basically the spaced repetition algorithm, but in a neat little way in which you can do it for the paper version. Again, credit goes to Henry Brown. This is not my idea, this was his. Go check out his YouTube channel, it's a great channel as well. Obviously, like, I'm using some pretty rubbish containers. You'd probably want to try getting some nicer containers than this. And like, you don't have to make them like different colours. Like, I'm just doing that for aesthetic purposes to make it easier to visualise. But if you wanted to, you could make it different colours, I don't know. That's up to you. But yeah. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the video. Hopefully you found this helpful, and hopefully I've inspired you to start making your own flashcards, because honestly, flashcards revolutionised the game for me, and I want you guys to get good grades as well. So definitely get on board and see what you can do with either the digital or the paper, whichever one you prefer. And yeah, I don't think I have anything left to say, so bye guys.